If you were an ice cream flavor, what would you be? That's the question I ask every single person who I interview at my ice cream store. And it's told me more who to hire than any question I've ever learned over my last 10 years. I run a plant-based ice cream store, and like any business, finding the right candidate is super hard. It's not something you want to get wrong, and in the ice cream business, it can be particularly hard. Here's why. No one aspires to work as a server in an ice cream store for their whole life. It's not a stepping stone on anyone's career ladder. For most people, it's just something to do while they figure out what they actually want to do. And I totally get that. That is fine. I'm not expecting someone's life dream to be scooping ice cream their whole life. But that doesn't change the fact that when I hire someone, I want the most competent person I can get, even if the job is just scooping ice cream. So the real question is, how do you tell the good candidates from the bad ones? And that's where my one interview question hack comes in. Let me back up first, because you need to understand why traditional interviews don't work, at least not for what I'm hiring for. So over the last 10 years, I've interviewed and hired more people than I can count for my store. Some of them I wish never left, some of them I can barely remember, and some of them I probably shouldn't have hired. Here's the problem though with a normal interview. Competent people can come across as incompetent people can come across as competent, and every once in a while someone completely incompetent comes across as exactly that. But those are rarer than you actually think. I'm not hiring for some complicated executive role. I'm not looking for someone to walk in and increase our sales or hit KPI or put together a growth deck. I'm looking for a self-starter, someone I can trust, someone who's good with customer service instincts, someone who takes initiative, someone who's reliable, and most importantly, someone who's easy to manage and give feedback to. A traditional interview isn't always the best way to find that. Ask someone if they're reliable, and every person will say, yes, I'm very reliable. Ask someone if they're a team player, and every single person will say, yes, I'm a great team player. Those questions don't filter anything. They just tell you who's good at answering a basic interview question. Over the years, I started to do something different though. I started asking one question designed to catch people completely off guard. A question with no right answer, but with a right response. Here it is. If you were an ice cream flavor, what would you be and why? Now, at first glance, that probably sounds like a little funny icebreaker, something to cut the tension before you get into the real questions, something silly. But that's not why I ask it. It's the single most useful question I have in my back pocket. And here is exactly why. Because there's no right answer. That's the entire point. I don't care what flavor someone picks. Vanilla, mint chip, some flavor I've never even heard of before. It genuinely does not matter. What I care about is how they explain why they picked it. What's going on in their head in that moment? Do they take the question seriously? Do they roll their eyes and treat it like it's beneath them, like it's something just silly? It shows me in real time how someone responds to something they didn't see coming or expect. Can they think on their feet? Can they make a connection that they literally haven't made before in their life? Because nobody, and I mean nobody, walks into an interview having rehearsed their answer to what ice cream flavor are you? Let me give you an example. Take vanilla. One person might say vanilla because I'm dependable, I get along with everyone, and I think the basics matter. Vanilla is the flavor people expect an ice cream shop to nail. It has to be good every single time. That's the same care I would bring to this job. That's a really great answer. I'm not hiring them because they said vanilla. I'm hiring them because they turned a throwaway question into something real on the spot. Now here's someone else. Same flavor, different answer. I don't know, I can't think of one. Vanilla, I guess. Same word, completely different impression. To be fair, that doesn't always mean that the person's a bad hire. Maybe they were nervous, maybe I caught them on an off day. I try to hold that lightly and not overreact to one flat answer. but it's still information. And it's information I wouldn't have gotten any other way. Sometimes I'll even watch their body language right in that moment. And yes, interviewers really do pay attention to that, trust me. A flat, checked out answer can be nerves, or sometimes it's just someone quietly telling you they're actually not interested in the role. But here's the real point. The flavor itself tells me almost nothing. The way someone answers it tells me almost everything. And that's what gets me really excited about asking this question every single time. It sounds silly, and honestly, I feel a bit silly asking it. It sounds like a throwaway line before the interview really starts. And then someone answers, and suddenly you learn something real about that person. Sometimes the questions without a right answer tell you far more than the ones that do. The second a question has a correct response, people stop showing you who they actually are, and they start showing you what they think you want to hear. This question they can't prepare for, so they can't perform it. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Next time you're interviewing someone for any role, just not ice cream, try asking one question that couldn't have possibly been rehearsed on the drive over or beforehand. It doesn't have to be about ice cream, doesn't have to be about animals, it can be whatever you want. It just doesn't have to have a right answer. And then watch what happens. Do they pause before they respond? That pause will tell you more than a resume ever did. So, if you were an ice cream flavor, what would you be? And most importantly, why? That is the key, why? Drop your flavor in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're wondering if I were an ice cream flavor, I would be vanilla, because I believe in consistency, showing up. It's the most important flavor to the store, and it's the one that the store relies on to really showcase them. That's me. I run a business and I want to be here and turn up every day. And that's why I keep doing this and keep posting these videos. Big love.